That's a fact. To change the world. So people don't realize even, they have not even begun to realize how crafty what we're doing is for the planet. They would literally have to wake up completely to have any overstanding of what the hell we're doing. That's a fact. They will have to surpass the teacher to even have an inkling of what it is that we are doing. This work is greater than many even perceive. But they're going to have to really become sincere on the path and the journey to wake up to that. To wake up to it. I was teaching metaphysics many years back. And I had, I want to say 7 or 8 years ago, maybe 9 years ago, I had followers of all types, all races and nationalities. But it just seemed like more Europeans was off into the metaphysical enlightenment paradigm. And I don't just mean metaphysical, because for some, the metaphysical is just an information thing. You follow what I'm saying? It's not really about enlightenment. It's not really about transcending. It's about just being more informed than somebody else. It's not practical. It's a very impractical path. None of this stuff can be activated. It's just information. I know this. I'm going to this lecture. I'm going to hear this. I'm going to hear that. But it seemed like when it came down to the real enlightenment process, it seemed like Europeans was more interested in that. And it's not because Europeans are better. It's just because so many black people are distracted by Europeans. It's less Europeans distracted by themselves. They know they ain't on shit. You hear what I'm saying? So they're coming straight for the enlightenment. They say, I know we don't know a goddamn thing. We believe in them, their education system and all that, and they'll go sit among a Hindu who can barely speak English and try to learn as much as they can about absolutely nothing. They want to learn nothingness. Do you understand what I'm saying? So black people are so distracted by white people that they can't come into the realization of who they are. The European has become one of the greatest distractions to our people to find out who we are. They must repel that distraction. They must reject that. They must see it objectively, so that they know that they are being distracted. You say, well, race doesn't exist. Well, if you tell them race don't exist, they just go on in their distraction. They have no parameters. Do you understand what I'm saying? To actually see what is actually going on. Race doesn't exist, and we're all one. And we go on being more and more distracted. But when you show them what does a distractor, that you're trying to imitate and be like something, and give your energy, time, and resources to something that has projected itself to you, that has become a strong illusion in your mind to be something greater than your source, then that becomes a problem. You follow what I'm saying? Not that it is a problem in and of itself. He's not valuable enough to be a problem. The energy we give to him in our distracted state creates the problem. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? And that's going to go over a lot of people's heads. He in and of himself is not a problem, but the energy that's given to him by our distraction, our attention that we get to him, becomes a problem. Because our attention is of great value. Wherever we give it to, that thing is going to grow. That thing is going to prosper. If you give your mind and energy to it, it's going to grow. We gave a lot of energy to his world and his reality because we didn't realize it as being something other than ourselves. That's the problem. When we got free, we could not separate, so-called free, we could not separate our world from his. We saw his world as ours, and even what we call freedom was defined by his world to us. I'm about to go deep now. So our definition of freedom came from him, came from an interfacing with his world. So what we call freedom was longing after his world. We wanted civil rights, the right to be civil, just be civil. We wanted human rights. We wanted, in so many words, to be lived like him and to gain the respect of him that we felt like he had for himself. But only we respected him like that. We had more respect for the white man than he had for himself. Do you hear what I'm saying? We have more respect for the white man's reality than we have for ourselves. The white man's empire has failed. Barack Obama is proud to try to get up there and steer the ship to some divine direction. The white man has given out of it. He's pulling out. And we're trying to get right on in. We respect his world even more than he do. He's just trying to cash out on it. We are true Americans in heart. He don't give a fuck about America. It's a business scheme. Do you hear what I'm saying? So we respect the white man's world more than he do. He don't even care about his laws, any of that. But we know it to a T. Ask the Moors. They pull you over, we know all the laws. Great nigger that you know that, but come on. That's great. I never even read that before. Wow. He doesn't give a fuck. Do you hear what I'm saying? So we learn to love him more than we love ourselves. And I was watching a cartoon that I just kind of walked in on Kung Fu Panda. And it was a point where he was eating, and he told the disciple that you could go ahead and eat. And then every time the disciple tried to eat, he used the chopsticks, right, and moved the food. And he said, "You said I could eat, are you sure?" And then he asked him, "Are you sure you can eat?" Meaning that if you don't have the potential to eat, the ability to eat, then I can't even give it to you. It's not even given to you. So he wanted permission for something he needed to master, which was himself. We seek permission from the white man to do this, that, and the other. We don't want to be the masters of our destiny. We still want him to give us something. He said, "Well, you can have it." But when we go for it, we find ourselves, what? In handcuffs. Because we have not mastered how to get it. Because we value his reality more than we even value our path towards mastery. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? How do we do that? Well, we let him validate us. We let him accreditate us. So that means our mastery doesn't go beyond his accreditation. That's why he gives us a master's degree. But we have not really mastered a degree of anything until we have mastered our own freedom. So he's lied to us. We have become masters of nothing. We have become perfect slaves. So it should be a perfect slave degree. Because a master don't need anything from anybody to do anything. And if that degree has not given you that ability, you have not mastered a goddamn thing. Do you hear me? So it should be properly called a perfect slave certificate. It should be properly called that. And that's what you have become. A perfect slave. Because you only received it to see how much you are willing to obey. How well you could conform over a given amount of time to prove that he could trust you in his house. That's a fact. To be a master, you will have to step out of his house. You can't be a master in master's house. It's not room for two masters. And when I say master's house, I'm not talking about American landmass, Native Americans, and people over here before he was. When I say master's house, I'm talking about the fictitious world of his corporate reality. The land is not included in that. The land is reality. The land is real property. I'm talking about his realm of intellectual property. You follow what I'm saying? We have to come out of that realm and get out here in the land with nature. And not just the nature of the universe, but the nature of the consciousness of our indigenous people. Because we have a natural consciousness as an indigenous people. The people walking around, there are two sides to them. One side to them is the matrix. Is their conformity to the white man's world. But there's another side of them called the natural world. When we master them, we could communicate with them through our DNA and create order in our own communities and create our own sovereignty. But how do we get into that relationship? Because we used to talking to Jay-Z and Lil Wayne and Drake. Because that's the world that has been sold to us to how to perceive our people. We don't know how to become chimpanzees again. Huh? We don't know how to become apes again. I'm teaching to communicate with our people on that level. Let me show you an example. You got how a dog responds to a human being. That's one way. Very humble, very submissive, right? This is how he's been taught to deal with the white man. But the dog has not lost his nature. When dogs come together, what? They know how to bark, don't they? So you got two sides of the dog. The dog deals one way with his master, and he does a different way with the dogs, right? We have forgot how to be dogs among ourselves. We have been colonial. We act as colonial subjects among our own people. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? Y'all don't hear me. We have not got back to the nature of dealing with the black man, woman, and child. We are dealing with them from the paradigm of our colonializer. We worried about the colonizer, but we're responding to each other with his mind. Because we feel that is appropriate. But you know what it's appropriate for? Slavery. You know what it's appropriate for? White supremacy. So when we talk about nation building and black supremacy and changing the condition of our people don't feel us. Because we come into them as the colonizer, but they look at us and know we're not the colonizer. So why should they respect us? We have to get back to the roar of the lion in our own community. We have to get back to the language in our DNA. It's not a language in the sense of the written languages. The language of our DNA is in our behavioral actions. It's a whole different type of psychology in our gestures and our mannerisms that will communicate that the awakened ones have returned. And you find people getting in their positions. And it ain't going to take no 24-hour lectures. You follow? It's not going to take no long dissertations. When we move in the energy of reality, what we're trying to communicate will be really communicated. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? We're not going to change our people until we move into the energy of reality. What's the quickest way to get in the energy of reality? Give up the illusion. If you give up the illusion, it's nothing left, right? But the energy of reality. The energy of reality is where power lies at. In the illusion, we have already lost. Because the illusion is white supremacy. So we have to get back to the nature of ourselves, undomesticated, so we can communicate with these animals out here. I'm not saying that in a negative sense. Because an animal is one of many species. The human being, quote unquote, is an animal. Huh? And if you don't understand what type of animal you are, you will be captivated by those who do. If we're not animals, why do we have bars and cages and zoos where we go and visit our relatives at? Huh? You tell me I got human rights, but 70% of black people are in jail living like monkeys behind cages. Because the European knows.